Jarrod Kimber's super over here. Let's start with, that was a fantastic day of Test cricket.
It was a fantastic day of test cricket. I think as an England fan, you can get caught up with disappointment in the last, 2.5, 3 hours of it. I think all in all, to see Shoaib Bashir get his maiden Fifer in first-class cricket, never mind Test cricket, and I think that has to be put in the context of where England's team's at, because we've got a young bowler, we're trying to win a game on a turning pitch, and he's only got a Fifer in first. It's only first class all Test Fifer he's got. I think it tells you where England's spin bowling department's at, and I think that when you look at the broader day, you can see why England will have a real struggle. Not a struggle to get the 10 wickets, but a struggle to have the experience and the know-how. If he's not going to bowl Anderson, which I thought was a surprise, the know-how how to steer cool under pressure with everything that's going around them. But all in all, I thought it was a fantastic pulsating day of Test match cricket. And when it comes to it, I think still there's not 3 results. There's definitely 2 results on offer, because India could easily win this game, and so could England.
It's incredible when you think back to lunch on day one. England were nowhere near this game, and now England are nowhere near this game again. But in between, they've been on top for so much of it. So many things have changed. But let's go through the horror session. England collapsing with the bat was bad enough. England deciding not to really score at all for a long period of time was quite ordinary. And then on top of that, you have, the final nail is the bowling and the full tosses and the half volleys when they came out. Just got everything wrong, England, in that last session.
Yeah, they did. I think they're going to have to take a little bit of criticism for that. We all pat them on the back when they've done brilliantly well. I think you've got to give credit to Rohit Sharma. I've been very critical of Rohit Sharma in these 4 Test matches, but he turned to his. He was in sort of last chance saloon sort of bar, wasn't he, when he came out to field? I can't afford to lose too many runs. I can't afford to give too much away. So Siraj's been a joke shot with the new ball for this in this series. Akashdeep's on debut. I've got to go to my best 2 bowlers. And I think when you come on to later on, when England had their mad 8 overs and went for 40 runs, how they didn't go to Anderson, because for me the turning point was Ashwin got the ball off Rohit Sharma, and he says, I need wickets. Get me wickets to keep me in this game. Because if England come out and go at 6 and over for 10 overs, game's over and it's done. Even if they only lose 1 or 2 wickets. Ashwin gets ducked out, then he gets poked back first ball, then he gets root out with a dubious one, but still it's out. All of a sudden, your key wicket taker, your big match player, your fighter, street fighter, has stood up and be counted, and all of a sudden England are now under pressure. Fast forward that to 8 overs to go. England walk out. Rohit Sharma, Jaiswal comes out to bat. Yes, Jimmy Anderson might not be as sort of dangerous from a wicket-taking point of view, where ball's going to go along, either spin or along the floor. But Jimmy Anderson would have probably bowled 3 overs on that for maybe 2 runs, and the horse wouldn't have bolted. He might have gotten a wicket. He might not have gotten a wicket. Hindsight's a wonderful thing. But when it comes out, and all of a sudden you bowl 8 overs, 7 full tosses, you give 40 runs away. The initiative has gone now to Sunil Gavaskar asking Ashwin at the end of the game about having this victory parade on his 100th Test match in Dharamsala, and all the Indian commentators who were talking to the Indian player, the Indian bowler Ashwin, about winning the game. We can be saying, you're guilty of getting 1 step ahead. We've been talking about England winning the game for the last 2 days, so we've been 1 step ahead. That's where this game's been. But it baffles me why Stokes didn't go to Anderson like Sharma did with Ashwin. He went with his best 2 bowlers. And I think if you look at it, one of England's best 2 bowlers is the guy who's got 698 wickets.
Just from an Indian perspective, Kuldeep Yadav's had quite a game, or quite a day, I should say. With the bat and with the ball, stood in there, helped Jurel. We'll talk about him in a moment, and then came on and I thought bowled fantastically as well.
He bowled brilliant. He really did bowl brilliantly. And his first over, if you go back to his first over, you remember his first over, he gets a ball to Johnny Bairstow to stand up and bounce from a good length. And then 2 balls later, from a similar length, that rolls along, it scoots along the floor. And that's what happens when you've got the wrist spin, and not only does turn both ways, but the odd one does stand up and bounce. He's a short guy, so he was a handful throughout, but his batting is what's kept India in the game. Partnership with Jurel, he batted at 130 balls. He valued his off stump. He didn't get too far out ahead of himself. He took what was on offer from a runs point of view. I thought he showed great character. I thought he showed very, very good technique in defence. And I thought his movements into the ball were always positive. And I think that's why he survived for the length of time he did. So, it's been a great day for Kuldeep Yadav.
Jurel played incredibly straight on a wicket where we've seen variable bounce. Not everyone has played as straight as him. I think he hit something like 70% of his balls back down the ground. He looks like a classy player.
He does. He looks a good player. He actually kept quite well. He missed a stumping off Johnny Bester, which I thought was a regulation stump. And I thought at the first I thought it had bounced and it hit him, but it didn't. I think he looked back at that and think I probably could have and should have taken the bails off and got the stumping. But his batting was excellent. Again, like Kuldeep Yadav, he was positive in his defence. When he was coming forward, the whole thing was the whole body, the hands and everything was coming as one, right forward, smothering the bounce or the turn that was on offer. And when he became not a license, but when he became a little bit more aggressive, he did hit the ball beautifully down the ground. A couple of times Bashir threw the ball up above the eye line, bang, he took the bowler on, the right bowler on. Didn't take so much Hartley on. He wasn't interested in anybody else. It was Bashir he wanted to. He was playing percentage safe down the ground from a ball that's going to turn in. No mystery, ball's not going to go past on a carom ball like what Ashwin's got. So I thought he played very, very well, and he played the situation very, very well. A good all-round sort of package when it comes to the wicketkeeper and the batting department. And he's got India in a position of strength that potentially could win the game. He's unlucky not to get 100, but I think he's got to be very, very happy and proud of his performance.
Finally, on the umpiring, this has not been a good game to be an umpire. I don't mean the umpires have made terrible mistakes. I just mean that everything seems to be line ball all the way through, right? Everything is so marginal in this game. It's been a tough one to officiate.
Yeah, I think I would say I would throw that back to you, Jarrod, because I think this is getting more and more. There's probably in the last 18 months, 2 years, I think we're getting more and more decisions where we're questioning from an eye line point of view. If you're looking in the naked eye, Joe Roots, that's a shocker. If in my opinion, I don't think that was very good. I think some of the umpires' calls in this series, Zach Crawley's had 2. There's been a countless number of
India had a whole day of them yesterday.
India had a whole day of them yesterday. There was 6 in that first hour. What is it? Has the technology changed? Because only in the last sort of 12, 18 months, I've been on the social media when the game's finished, and there's quite a few players, current players and former players, talking about the last 2 years, where it really seems to have it's gone downhill. Has there been a change in the DRS system, or has the computers changed, or has the technology changed? Because something's not quite right. Because I've been critical of Joe Wilson and Kumadan Seema because I don't think they're very good umpires. But I can't blame them for this. This is the technology, and I think I'm not so sure it has been as good as what it was in previous years.
The only thing I would say is that Hawkeye started as a cricket company by a cricketer. Right, and it's now part of the Sony package and everything else, and obviously basketball and baseball and tennis are their major things, and football and all this sort of stuff. Cricket is no longer their major sport. I don't know if anything's changed or not, but you're not the only person who's come to me and said, has Hawkeye changed? Because it doesn't look as accurate as we all felt it was a little while ago. Maybe it's just there's so much cricket played. Maybe it's just one of those things that, do you remember that point where we all thought we should never use the light up bails because they never came off because there were like 3 games in a row when they were hit. Sometimes it's stuff like that. But there's no doubt that Hawkeye's changed as a company over this time. But anyway, it probably won't matter tomorrow either way. The umpiring, this one seems to be going India's way, although pretty much at every stage in this test match, when we thought one team was going to win, the other one has come back.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.